Hi, I'm Ron Landis. Welcome to my studio. Hi guys. Hey, we've been having a lot of requests for thumb picks, and I've been answering the same questions over and over. It's not something that can be ordered right off the rack on our website, so I'm having a little problem getting a standard item. So right now we're making them one at a time, and I wanted to explain first where they came from. I explain how I've been developing. About 5 years ago I started making finger picks, and about then I started playing around with some thumb picks too. I've always had a problem of hooking my strings in the back of my thumb pick. So I've been using these Acri picks, and they have a little closed off section here in front that eliminates string hooking. And so I like that idea. I did a little modification to cut a bigger scoop to make it a little more comfortable, but I didn't like the tone of these, so I riveted on a piece of a blue chip flat pick that I just replaced the Delron blade with this, and I used it for, I don't know, I guess about 5 years before I started making these picks. And then I decided I kind of want a heavier band maybe to go with these heavier picks I'm playing. So I started experimenting around. I made some in, I think this one may be nickel silver here. I used a few nickel ones, and here's a nickel one that just did not work at all. The tone was terrible. The band was too thick. It's too slippery. It comes right off. It's a horrible pick. But I make these things just to try them out. And here's another nickel pick, probably the best nickel pick I made. It's still not very good. I didn't like the tone. The band was too heavy. It couldn't be adjusted. There was no give in it really. So I started making them in sterling and got a few pretty good ones. This is one I did a little more engraving on the band. This was a pretty good one, but the band was a little bit wide. It stayed on pretty good, but they developed a little bit. This is one I made with a silver band, and I riveted on a blue chip blade. It was pretty good. I used this for several years. But then I came up with some solid silver ones that I like a little better, and they're a little more comfortable. This is kind of a standard pick that I'm making now, sort of my generic thumb pick. And I've been playing around with different gauges. It's surprising the amount of tone difference you can get by changing the gauges of the silver. There's one, this one here is pretty thin, and it gives you more of a treble sound. The thicker the blade, the darker the tone. And to a point where it's too dark, it just sounds too dull. I did an experiment. I think it started out as this one. I started out with 12 gauge silver, and it was extremely heavy silver pick that I just wanted to make just to see what it did. I thought maybe some guys could use it to like hammer chords out on guitar or something. But the band was way too thick. There was no flex at all in it. And so I modified it. I took it apart, and I straightened it out, and I hammered the band out a little thinner, and then I shaped the blade. It's still a pretty thick blade, but not as thick as it was. It's a pretty good pick now, but maybe still a little too thick. So I've kind of settled on something like this. I can't remember even what gauge I started with. Maybe that's 18 gauge. And I hammer the band a little thinner, so it's got a little bit of spring in it, a little bit of adjustability. You can squeeze it in, you can scrunch it. It can be, adjustable to a certain extent. And I also hand cut. Since I'm not stamping these yet, I have to hand cut in my little teeth in here like I do on my finger picks, to where it keeps it from slipping. And this is a really good pick. This is the one, it's really a similar pick, but I just engraved it to where it's just this crazy quilt of patterns. It's kind of my engraved version of a clown puke pick. I shaped the blade a little bit. And this is my go-to pick for dobro. It has been since I made it. I really like it. It fits me perfect. And that's the thing. I can make them to fit me perfect, because this is my test piece right here. If your thumb is the same size as my thumb, we got no problem. But there's a lot of variance there. And what I need to do really is probably hire people with different size thumbs to make picks in different sizes, because that's really where the problem is. Because if they don't fit right, they're not going to work right for you. If they fit right, they're really, really comfortable. They don't slip, give you great tone, and look, no string hooking. So there's not a place on the website where you can go to order these yet. I'll put some on there. I may just try to sell them in one size for now. And no, wait, we do have a way of sizing them, and I'm going to show you that right now. I made a custom pick for a steel guitar player, and he came up with this clever idea. He took a breg tie, and then he wrapped it around his thumb and just twisted it, not real tight, just so it's, you know, on there. Now you just cut this and measure it. That's close enough. And so my thumb is, oh, I don't have my eyeglasses. It's about 2 3/4 inches all the way around. My pick blanks are usually 3 1/4 inches, so that gives you extra for the blade there. But that's about the best way. So if you can provide that information, if you want them engraved, that's extra money, depending on what you want. I've done some elaborate ones. I've charged up to $300 for a single pick, depending on how elaborately you want them engraved. But the hammered ones, and this is a left-handed one. I'll even do a left-handed one. They're $125 is what I've been getting for the hammered ones. Until we can get the tooling made to cut the blanks and die stamp all the teeth and the design work in to thin the bands down. That'll all be done in presses, and we can get the price way down. But for now, they're made one at a time. Each one of those teeth in there are hand cut, and it's time consuming. Of course, hand engraving is even more so. But they're awesome picks. I use them all the time. And this is the one I'm using for banjo and steel. It's a thinner band. I like these thick bands like this. I like the thick band for guitar and dobro. And I like the narrow bands for banjo and steel. And when you order, you can order your blade in any, you can have it real wide, round. You can have it real pointy, long, short, however you want them. We'll try to accommodate you. These are tailor-made to fit you. And I have blank ones that can be engraved. I usually do that while it's flat. Now, this is just a plain one. This is a pretty good dobro pick right here. Also, I was playing around, and I liked the narrow band, and I thought, well, what if you go really narrow? So I made this one. It's pretty thick. It's 16 gauge silver, but I just hammered the band down so it'd be thinner. And this makes a great banjo pick. And for steel guitar too. It's got a really precise little point on it. I call them pickles. Somebody gave me that name. I said, I gotta invent a pick just to use that name. These are pickles. This one's a pretty thick pick, really narrow band. They're pretty comfortable. And for steel guitar, they work really great. Not for everybody. That's why we have choices, and you can custom order any band size, blade width, blade thickness, and we'll try to get you set up. Thanks.